What is going on, Phoenix Squadron? I hope you're as excited as I am about the Ahsoka finale. Now, we don't have a whole lot going on after the series ends, at least not for a while, so let's have a bit of fun and make some predictions that will undoubtedly be wrong.
What was first just a dream has become a frightening reality for those who may oppose us.
Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the writing of Han, Leia, Luke, R2, Chewie, and C-3PO and Ben on Baylan's wrist. And of course, there's some real silly theories out there, like it's a hit list of these characters, which doesn't make a lot of sense for a variety of reasons. Now, the most likely scenario, I believe, was that just the costume department is throwing in some Easter eggs. At least that's what I thought before episode 7. And what did we get? A beautiful cameo by C-3PO, and he mentions that he's there on behalf of Leia Organa.
The Honorable Senator Organa has become aware of an unfortunate situation.
Now this made me think, what if these names on Baylan's wrist is also put there by the costume department, but it's foreshadowing cameos? What if Dave Filoni has been listening to fans? Now, one big complaint, one of many, from these movies that we don't speak of, is that we were all robbed of a scene with Luke, Leia, Han, and Chewie together one last time. So what if we see Han? Well, if we see Han, we're going to see Chewie. If we see Leia, it would make sense that she would have her son Ben with her. Now, Ben could also mean Ben Kenobi, so we could see an Obi-Wan Force ghost with Anakin. And of course, R2 is always going to be with Luke. Now, as per my YouTube agreement, I'm required to get this theory completely wrong.
Oh, what a loser!
Now, we're going to come back to Baylan in a second because we definitely have a lot more to talk about with his quest. But let's jump over to Ezra. I have one question that's been bothering me since Sabine found him. Why hasn't he asked about Thrawn? He hasn't mentioned the biggest threat to everyone when Sabine shows up. Does Thrawn have anything to do with her being there? Has she seen Thrawn? Does Ezra even know if he's alive or if he's on the same planet? There hasn't been one word. Now, I hope we get these answers and we find out what's going on in the last 10 years. So here's my thought. Thrawn probably started off sending troopers after Ezra, but it didn't go so well. Ezra has always been an escape artist. So he's elusive and stormtroopers really aren't going to be any match for a Jedi. So Thrawn needs to conserve resources and he switches to prioritizing just escaping the galaxy. He met the Night Sisters at the temple on Peridia. He forms an alliance, uses their magic to contact Morgan, and makes a deal to bring all their dead ancestors from the catacombs on the Chimera and brings them back to Dathomir. Now for Thrawn and his fate. First, I think without a doubt he wins, and he makes it back to the known galaxy. Maybe that's when we see all of our heroes, Han, Luke, Leia, Chewie, all together. It would be a tragedy if they introduce Thrawn, and then 2 episodes later he's defeated. And I don't think Dave Filoni's gonna do that. But we do really need some consequences for our good guys. Maybe one of them dies. Now, I don't want all of our heroes to constantly make it through every show. We need something to be devastated over. And Filoni is absolutely brilliant at breaking our hearts. He's shown this in the Clone Wars and Rebels. Now, what I keep seeing is Ezra saying this.
Can't wait to go home. I'm getting a feeling. I think I might be going home after all.
Now, to me, this is like the kiss of death in movies, and I have a bad feeling about this. I really hope it isn't Ezra, because I think it would be a mistake to not have him meet Jacen Syndulla, the son of his former master, and maybe even train him in season 2. I think that would be a big miss for Filoni if they don't do that, and I don't see him letting Ahsoka die just yet either. I actually think that this will happen in his movie, but that's a big prediction for another time. Now, I think it's going to be Sabine if it's anyone. I think she really needs to face the consequences for her decision to put the entire entire galaxy at risk just for her wanting to go rescue Ezra. Another question, will the good guys also make it back to the known galaxy? This is something that I've been thinking about a lot. How? How do they get back? Thrawn's not going to allow them to board his ship unless they stow away on the Chimera somehow. He could then have the Great Mothers find them on the destroyer, but he'd be an idiot to kind of send stormtroopers after Ahsoka. That leads me to the world between worlds. Ezra and Ahsoka have both been there, and there's one thing that I made a prediction about before the series started, and that's that the Loth Wolves could save them. They already did this back on Lothal against Thrawn's forces. The Loth Wolves can travel through the world between worlds, and there are portals throughout all of time and space. That, I think, would be a great way to get them back to Lothal. Now, I think that's a good segue into Baylan's skull and his mission. What is he looking for? He wants to break the cycle of power. He's searching for the beginning, a greater power than what Thrawn is representing. Something is calling to him on Peridia. And there has been a lot of theories about this, of course. The Yuuzhan Vong, the Grisks, Palpatine himself, Abeloth, the bringer of chaos, and probably my favorite theory is the Zepho. Now, I have a video I'm working on all about the Zepho, and if this ends up being true, I'll be releasing it shortly after the episode. Now, why the Zepho? Well, we've had Easter eggs of their presence on the Great Mother's temple, and the runes and the inscriptions all over it. It even has the sage of the Zepho, Kujet, the one that had his tomb on Dathomir written on the temple. This same writing, or very similar types of writing, like the Ur-Katat, is on the Jedi Temple of Lothal, the Sith Temple of Malachor, and even on the gates of the world between worlds. Now, the Zepho are much older than just about any species, dating back way before the Old Republic. Maybe they are the beginning. They fled the galaxy after their civil war into what they called the Great Unknown. So maybe it's Kujet, as the writing suggests. And if the Zepho did create the world between worlds, that could be something Baylan is after, to destroy it or to use it to break the cycle of power. And Ahsoka would need to defeat Baylan in order to use the world between worlds to get back to the known galaxy. Now, as far as Shin Hati goes, I think her vision is a bit more short-sighted compared to Baylan.
What happens when we find Thrawn?
For some, war. For others, a new beginning.
And for us?
Power. Such as you've never dreamed.
And isn't it our turn now? Won't our alliance with Thrawn finally bring us into power?
That sort of power is fleeting.
She sees Thrawn as the vessel to obtain power. That's what she's looking for. Personal power. I think she's gonna go join Thrawn, and as Baylan says, take her place in the new empire to come. While Baylan is looking for something far greater than the power Thrawn's going to bring. Although Shin doesn't really trust the witches either.
You're a witch. We're witches.
So she finds herself in an unfamiliar situation. For me, I'm really excited to see where exactly her story goes from here. Of course, you probably know that I'm going to be 100% incorrect in these predictions, but I think we can all agree on one thing. This booger eater needs a good old-fashioned Force choke. Now let me know what you guys think down below, what you think is going to happen in the finale. Click here to see more from us from Phoenix Squadron, and may the Force be with you.